Aliens' First Encounter with a Human Warship, Part 1. Admiral Vorax stood at the command center of the Celestial Dominion, flagship of the Zephyrian exploration fleet. His tall, slender form cast a long shadow across the polished floor as he studied the holographic display of the solar system they were approaching. The third planet, shrouded in blue and white, had caught their attention months ago, when unusual energy signatures began emanating from its surface. Preliminary analysis complete. Admiral, announced Science Director Ilara, her voice melodic despite the formal tone. Her skin shimmered with bioluminescent patterns that reflected her excitement. The inhabitants call their world Earth. They've achieved rudimentary space travel, but have barely colonized their own moon. Their technology is primitive by our standards. Vorax nodded, six eyes blinking in sequence as he processed the information. The Zephyrians had been exploring the galaxy for over 3 millennia, encountering dozens of species. Most had been pre-spaceflight civilizations, easily impressed by Zephyrian technology, and quick to accept guidance from their clearly superior visitors. And yet, Vorax mused, those energy signatures suggested something more interesting. What do we know about their defensive capabilities? Tactical Officer Zenith approached, his exoskeleton clicking softly against the deck. Minimal, Admiral. They have crude projectile weapons, primitive nuclear devices, and elementary energy shields. Nothing that could pose any threat to our vessels. Perfect, Vorax said, mandibles clicking with satisfaction. The Council will be pleased. Another species to bring into the Galactic Compact, another world to guide toward proper civilization. The Celestial Dominion was a marvel of Zephyrian engineering. A massive vessel stretching nearly 5 kilometers from bow to stern, its silvery hull composed of self-repairing alloys integrated with organic components. Smaller support craft surrounded it, forming a fleet that had never known defeat in its centuries of exploration. Prepare the first contact protocols, Vorax ordered. Position the fleet just beyond their moon's orbit. Let them detect us gradually. We don't want to overwhelm them immediately. As the Zephyrian fleet glided silently toward Earth, monitoring stations across the planet began registering anomalous readings. Deep in the Nevada desert, at the United Earth Space Command headquarters, alarms sounded. Admiral Helena Chen was reviewing personnel files when her terminal flashed red. At 53, she had spent 3 decades in the space service and had overseen the development of Earth's newest defensive ships. Her weathered face showed concern as she read the incoming data. Multiple objects approaching from beyond lunar orbit, reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson. They're massive, Admiral, and they're not broadcasting any known identification signals. Chen's expression remained carefully neutral. Alert all UESC vessels. Deploy the Vanguard to intercept and assess. Full stealth protocols. The UES Vanguard was humanity's newest warship, a vessel that represented the pinnacle of Earth's technological achievement. Unlike the sleek, organic-looking craft of the Zephyrians, the Vanguard was angular and utilitarian. Its dark hull was broken by what appeared to be weapon ports and communication arrays, but these visible features were largely decoys. The ship's true capabilities were hidden beneath layers of composite armor and stealth technology. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, watching her crew prepare for humanity's first confirmed alien encounter. At 38, Rodriguez had distinguished herself as both a brilliant tactician and a capable diplomat, qualities that had earned her command of Earth's most advanced warship. All systems operational, Captain, reported Commander Wei, her executive officer. Stealth systems engage. We're approaching the alien fleet undetected. Rodriguez nodded. Maintain distance. Passive scans only. Let's see what we're dealing with before we announce ourselves. Aboard the Celestial Dominion, Ilara noticed an unusual reading on her console. Admiral, I'm detecting a small energy fluctuation near the human moon. It could be a sensor ghost, but investigate, Vorax ordered. These humans shouldn't have any technology capable of detecting us at this range, but we should be thorough. The Vanguard drifted closer, its advanced sensors gathering data on the alien fleet while remaining undetected thanks to its revolutionary quantum stealth system. Rodriguez studied the images with growing concern. "Those ships are enormous," she murmured, "and their energy readings are off the charts. Should we notify Earth?" asked Y. Rodriguez shook her head. "Not yet. First, I want to understand their capabilities and intentions." The Zephyrian probes spread out in a search pattern, their advanced sensors probing space with technologies that could detect the smallest changes in quantum fields. One drone passed within a kilometer of the Vanguard, its sensors momentarily disrupted by an unexpected quantum fluctuation. On the Celestial Dominion, Ilara's console lit up. "Admiral, Probe 7 is reporting unusual quantum disturbances. Something is there." Vorax moved to her station, studying the readings. "Impossible. These readings suggest advanced quantum manipulation technology. The humans shouldn't have that capability for centuries. Yet the evidence suggests otherwise," Ilara replied. "The disturbance is consistent with a stealth system far beyond what our intelligence predicted." Vorax's expression darkened. "Target that location. Prepare to fire a low-yield ionic pulse. Nothing damaging, just enough to disrupt whatever stealth technology they're using." Aboard the Vanguard, alarms suddenly blared. "Energy buildup detected in the alien flagship," Park announced urgently. "They're targeting our position." Rodriguez didn't hesitate. "Evasive maneuvers. Bring defensive systems online." The Vanguard's engines flared to life, propelling the ship in a tight arc away from its original position, just as a brilliant beam of blue-white energy lanced through the space where it had been moments before. "They've fired on us," Way exclaimed. "Not exactly," Rodriguez replied, studying the sensor data. "That wasn't a weapon, at least not a destructive one. It appears to be some kind of scanning pulse designed to disrupt our stealth systems." On the Celestial Dominion, consternation spread through the command center. "Target has moved, Admiral," Zenith reported, surprise evident in his tone. "They detected our targeting systems and evaded before we could fire." Vorax stared at the tactical display in disbelief. "Impossible. Their technology shouldn't allow for such reaction times." "Admiral," Ilara interrupted, "I'm detecting a power surge from the same area. The human vessel is decloaking." The Vanguard shed its quantum stealth field, revealing itself to the Zephyrian fleet. Though dwarfed by the massive alien vessels, the human warship projected a distinct aura of purpose and capability. "Open a communication channel," Rodriguez ordered. "All frequencies, first contact protocol Alpha." The message that reached the Celestial Dominion was simple. "Attention unknown vessels. This is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the United Earth Ship Vanguard. You have entered Earth's sovereign space. State your intentions." The command center of the Celestial Dominion fell silent as the human transmission played. Vorax stared at the image of the human captain now displayed on their view screen. "They have ships that can hide from our sensors," he said quietly. "They have detected us, evaded our scanning pulse, and now they demand we state our intentions." His mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. "These humans are not what we expected." Ilara studied the human vessel with newfound respect. "Their ship design is peculiar, inefficient by our standards, yet clearly effective. Perhaps we have underestimated them." "Respond to their hail," Vorax ordered. "Inform them we are peaceful explorers representing the Zephyrian Compact." But he added, eyes narrowing, "Position our fleet to display our full strength. They should understand the disparity between us." As the Zephyrian fleet rearranged itself into an impressive formation, the Vanguard remained motionless, sending continuous updates to Earth. Admiral Chen reviewed the data with the United Earth Security Council. "The aliens call themselves Zephyrians. They claim peaceful intentions, but their fleet positioning suggests intimidation tactics. Can the Vanguard stand against them if this turns hostile?" asked the Security Council chair. Chen's expression remained composed. The Vanguard represents our most advanced technologies, many of which we've kept hidden from public knowledge. It's designed for precisely this scenario: first contact with potentially hostile extraterrestrials. Back in space, Rodriguez received the Zephyrian response. "They're inviting us to send a delegation to their flagship," she informed her crew. "They're also making quite a show of repositioning their fleet." "A display of force," we suggested, "or simply poor diplomatic protocol," Rodriguez replied. "Either way, we'll proceed cautiously. Prepare a shuttle. I'll lead the delegation myself." "Captain," Y protested. "Protocol suggests. Protocol for first contact with alien species is still theoretical." "Commander," Rodriguez interrupted with a small smile, "and I need you here, ready to act if things go poorly." As a shuttle detached from the Vanguard and approached the enormous Zephyrian flagship, Admiral Vorax prepared to meet these unexpectedly sophisticated humans. Little did he know that the greatest surprises were yet to come, as humanity prepared to demonstrate why underestimating them was perhaps the greatest mistake the Zephyrians could make. Aliens' first encounter with a human warship. Part 2. The shuttle carrying Captain Rodriguez and her small delegation docked within the cavernous hangar bay of the Celestial Dominion. The contrast between technologies was immediately apparent. Where human ships utilized practical, industrial designs, the Zephyrian vessel seemed almost organic, with flowing architecture and surfaces that pulsed with soft, bioluminescent light. Rodriguez stepped from the shuttle accompanied by two officers: Lieutenant Commander Nadia Kari, the ship's cultural anthropologist and linguistic expert, and Lieutenant James Nakamura, their chief science officer. All three wore standard UESC dress uniforms, dark blue with silver trim, and carried only basic communication devices. "Remember," Rodriguez murmured to her team, "we represent all of humanity. Observe everything. Assume nothing." A delegation of Zephyrians awaited them. Admiral Vorax stood at the center, his tall form towering over the humans. Behind him stood Science Director Ilara and several other officers. "Welcome aboard the Celestial Dominion," Vorax said, his words translated through a device worn by Ilara. "I am Admiral Vorax, commanding officer of the Zephyrian Exploration Fleet." Rodriguez stepped forward, maintaining a diplomatic posture. "Thank you for your welcome, Admiral. I am Captain Maya Rodriguez of the United Earth Ship Vanguard. We appreciate this opportunity for peaceful exchange." As they exchanged formal greetings, both delegations studied each other intently. The Zephyrians were tall and slender with exoskeletal features and multiple eyes, while the humans appeared solid and compact by comparison. "Please, follow me to more comfortable surroundings," Vorax invited, leading them from the hangar bay into a vast corridor. As they walked, Lieutenant Nakamura quietly activated a handheld scanner disguised as a communication device, gathering data on Zephyrian technology. Similarly, Ilara was conducting her own subtle scans of the human visitors. They arrived at a spacious chamber with a panoramic view of Earth in the distance. A large table dominated the center, surrounded by seating accommodations designed for various physiologies. "Your world is beautiful," Ilara commented as they settled around the table. "We've observed it for some time before making our approach." "How long have you been watching us?" Rodriguez asked directly. A momentary silence fell across the room before Vorax answered. "We detected unusual energy signatures from your planet approximately one of your Earth years ago. Our long-range probes have been monitoring since then." Rodriguez nodded, making note of this admission of surveillance. "And what brought your fleet here in person?" "Curiosity," Vorax replied smoothly. "The Zephyrian Compact explores the galaxy seeking new civilizations to welcome into our community of worlds. We've guided many emerging species toward enlightenment." The implied condescension wasn't lost on Rodriguez. "How generous of you," she said neutrally. "Earth has its own interplanetary community. We're not seeking guidance, but we're always interested in peaceful exchange of knowledge." Vorax's mandibles clicked, a gesture the humans couldn't yet interpret. "Of course. Though I must admit, Captain, your vessel surprised us. Your technological capabilities exceed our intelligence reports. Perhaps your intelligence-gathering methods need refinement, Rodriguez suggested with a slight smile. Meanwhile, aboard the Vanguard, Commander Wei maintained vigilant watch over both the diplomatic proceedings and the Zephyrian fleet. Anything unusual? He asked Lieutenant Park at the sensor station. The alien vessels are maintaining formation, but I'm detecting low-level scanning attempts directed at our ship, she reported. They're trying to penetrate our hull to analyze our systems. Wei frowned. Countermeasures active. Yes, sir. Our quantum interference field is scrambling their scans. Back on the Celestial Dominion, the diplomatic meeting continued with an exchange of basic cultural and scientific information, carefully curated by both sides to reveal little of strategic value. Your propulsion systems interest me, Ilara stated, attempting to steer the conversation toward technical matters. We've observed your vessels using what appears to be conventional reaction drives, yet the speed with which your ship evaded our scanning pulse suggests something more advanced. Nakamura offered a professional smile. We employ various propulsion technologies depending on mission requirements. The Vanguard represents our latest innovations, Ilara persisted, including stealth technology that can evade our sensors, quite remarkable for a species that has barely reached its neighboring planets. Appearances can be deceiving, Cowrie interjected smoothly. Humanity has focused its resources on specific technological paths, rather than expanding physically throughout our system. Admiral Vorax leaned forward. A curious choice. Most species prioritize colonization. We found it more efficient to perfect our technologies before expanding, Rodriguez explained. Quality over quantity. The conversation continued in this vein, a diplomatic dance of veiled questions and evasive answers. As they spoke, however, both sides were gathering crucial intelligence. Tactical Officer Zenith approached Admiral Vorax discreetly, whispering something that caused the Admiral's posture to stiffen. He excused himself momentarily, leaving Ilara to continue the discussions. In a private communication chamber, Zenith displayed a troubling analysis. Our deep scans have detected unusual readings from Earth's lunar surface, Admiral. There appears to be a substantial military installation hidden beneath the regolith, one capable of housing dozens of vessels similar to the Vanguard. Vorax studied the data with growing concern. And their sun-facing planetary defense systems. More extensive than anticipated. We've identified what appear to be energy weapon platforms in geosynchronous orbit, cleverly disguised as communication satellites. Vorax's mandibles clicked rapidly. These humans have been preparing for extraterrestrial contact, possibly hostile contact, for some time. Should we abort the diplomatic approach? The fleet could easily neutralize their defenses before they... No, Vorax interrupted. We need more information. Continue passive scanning, but prepare contingency plans. When Vorax returned to the meeting, Rodriguez noticed a subtle change in his demeanor. The conversation shifted to galactic politics and the structure of the Zephyrian Compact. Over 300 species have benefited from Zephyrian guidance, Vorax explained. We provide technological assistance, cultural enrichment, and protection from less benevolent forces in the galaxy. In exchange for what? Rodriguez asked directly. Vorax's multiple eyes blinked in sequence. Merely cooperation and recognition of the Compact's authority in interstellar matters. A small price for elevation to galactic citizenship. I see, Rodriguez replied. On Earth, we have historical examples of similar arrangements. They rarely benefited both parties equally. The diplomatic tension in the room increased perceptibly. Ilara intervened, suggesting a demonstration of Zephyrian cultural achievements. The conversation continued, but the underlying currents had shifted. After several hours, Rodriguez signaled that it was time for her delegation to return to the Vanguard. As they prepared to leave, Vorax made a final offer. Captain, I invite you to witness a demonstration of Zephyrian technology. Perhaps tomorrow we could show you our gravimetric manipulation capabilities, technology that forms the foundation of our interstellar travel. Rodriguez considered the offer carefully. We would be interested in such a demonstration, Admiral. Perhaps in neutral space, midway between our vessels. Vorax agreed, and the human delegation departed, returning to the Vanguard with valuable intelligence. Once aboard, Rodriguez immediately briefed her officers. They're scanning everything. Earth, the Moon, our ship. Their interest in our propulsion and stealth systems is particularly concerning. Did you notice how their attitude changed when the Admiral was called away? Kaori noted. Something about our defenses disturbed them. Nakamura activated a holographic display showing his scanner results. Their technology is advanced, but not incomprehensibly so. Their advantage appears to be in scale and refinement rather than fundamental breakthroughs. They've had thousands of years to perfect what they have. And tomorrow's demonstration? Wei asked. Rodriguez's expression hardened. A show of force disguised as cultural exchange. They want to impress us, maybe intimidate us. She turned to Communications Officer Lin. Contact Admiral Chen. Update her on everything we've learned and request reinforcements from the lunar base. I want the Orion and the Challenger on standby beyond the dark side of the Moon. The next day, the Vanguard met the Celestial Dominion at the agreed-upon coordinates between Earth's moon and the Zephyrian fleet. As promised, the aliens demonstrated their gravimetric technology, creating controlled spatial distortions that could theoretically be used for faster-than-light travel. Impressive, Rodriguez acknowledged. Our own research into spatial manipulation is still theoretical. This is but one example of what the Compact could share with humanity, Vorax said. Of course, full technological exchange would require Earth's formal recognition of Compact authority. Rodriguez smiled diplomatically. Such decisions would require consultation with Earth's unified government. Perhaps we could arrange for your representatives to. She was interrupted by an urgent communication from the Vanguard. Captain, we're detecting energy buildup in several of the Zephyrian support vessels. They're repositioning to surround us. Rodriguez looked to Vorax, who remained impassive. Admiral, is there a problem? Not at all, Captain. Merely a standard security protocol during technological demonstrations. Rodriguez wasn't convinced. Curious that you didn't mention this protocol earlier. She tapped her communication device. Vanguard, implement security protocol Echo 9. Instantly, the apparently vulnerable human ship transformed. Concealed weapon ports opened along its hull, revealing advanced energy weapons that hummed with power. More significantly, two previously undetected human vessels suddenly appeared flanking the Vanguard, having arrived using the same quantum stealth technology. You brought reinforcements, Vorax observed, his tone neutral despite his evident surprise. Standard security protocol, Rodriguez replied, echoing his earlier words. I'm sure you understand. The tension in space was palpable as the vessels faced each other, the massive Zephyrian fleet still holding overwhelming numerical superiority, but now facing an unexpected show of human technological capability. Finally, Vorax broke the silence. It seems we may have underestimated humanity's advancement. A common mistake, Rodriguez replied. Throughout our history, those who have underestimated humans have often regretted it. What followed was a remarkable shift in diplomatic approach. The Zephyrians, recognizing that humanity would not be easily intimidated or dominated, adapted their strategy. Instead of offering guidance, they proposed genuine exchange. Over the following weeks, representatives from Earth and the Zephyrian Compact engaged in increasingly productive negotiations. The initial misconceptions gave way to mutual respect, particularly as the Zephyrians discovered that humans possessed unique technological innovations that had evolved along entirely different paths from their own. Their approach to quantum mechanics is fascinating, Ilara confessed to Admiral Vorax after a joint scientific conference. They've developed practical applications that never occurred to our scientists, despite our millennia of advancement. Vorax had come to a similar conclusion. The humans are unusual. They've compressed technological development that took other species centuries into mere decades. Their warships may be smaller and fewer, but their adaptive capabilities are remarkable. The Celestial Dominion remained in Earth orbit for 3 months as the foundation for diplomatic relations was established. When the Zephyrian fleet finally prepared to depart, Admiral Vorax and Captain Rodriguez met one final time aboard the Vanguard. The Compact's Council was disappointed to learn that Earth would not be joining as a protectorate. Vorax admitted, "But they're intrigued by your counter-proposal of equal alliance." Rodriguez nodded. "Humanity has never responded well to dominance. Admiral, we prefer partnerships based on mutual respect, a trait we've rarely encountered," Vorax acknowledged. "Most emerging species are eager for Zephyrian protection and guidance." "Perhaps you've been encountering the wrong species," Rodriguez suggested with a smile. As the Zephyrian fleet departed Earth's solar system, they carried with them not only new technological insights, but also a profound lesson. Appearances could be deceiving, and humanity was a force to be reckoned with in the galactic community. Admiral Chen met with Captain Rodriguez at UESC headquarters following the Zephyrians' departure. "Your handling of first contact has set a precedent, Captain. The Zephyrians will spread word of Earth throughout their compact." "For better or worse," Rodriguez agreed. "We've revealed more of our capabilities than we intended." Chen smiled. "Perhaps, but we've also gained valuable intelligence about galactic politics. The Zephyrians aren't the only power out there, and not all first contacts will be as peaceful." Rodriguez nodded thoughtfully. They expected a primitive species grateful for their guidance. Instead, they found equals who demanded respect. "And that," Chen said, "may be humanity's greatest strength as we step onto the galactic stage. We refuse to be underestimated." Across the vast expanse of space, aboard the Celestial Dominion, Admiral Vorax updated the official report to the Compact Council. Recommendation: classify Earth as a Category 1 civilization with autonomous development status. The humans possess remarkable adaptive capabilities and unconventional technological approaches. They should be approached as equals rather than potential protectorates. Ilara reviewed the report with a new respect for the species they had encountered. "They seemed so primitive at first glance," she mused. "A lesson for us all," Vorax replied. "Never judge a species by its planetary development alone. These humans, they are something new in our experience." As the Zephyrian fleet accelerated toward deep space, they carried with them the knowledge that the galaxy had become a more interesting, and perhaps more challenging, place with humanity's emergence onto the cosmic stage.